Hello and welcome to our course on Microsoft Word 2013. My name is Toby and I'm your instructor on this course. Word 2013 is the latest version of Microsoft's word processing package Word. For several years, Microsoft Word really has been the leading word processing package around the world. There are many millions of users of Microsoft Word. In past times there have been other very strong word processing packages like WordPerfect, and nowadays there are some strong competitors to Word, such as the word processing components of OpenOffice. But in terms of sheer volume of use, number of users, and the significant position that Word has in everyday business in every corner of the globe, really Microsoft Word is by a long way the leader. And Word 2013 is the latest in a line of versions of the products, which pretty much corresponds to a new version of Word every 3 or 4 years. So let me talk for a minute or two about who the course is for. I really have, I suppose, 3 target audiences in this course. First of all, I want to target people who are completely new to Word, who've never used Word before, maybe who haven't even used a word processing package before. I want to make sure that you can begin with very basic knowledge and get up to be a competent user of Microsoft Word. Now, I am assuming that you're familiar with using Windows software in general, and I won't be explaining terms like what a window is, what a dialog is, how to use a scroll bar, or how to click a button. I will assume throughout that you're sufficiently familiar with Windows-based software that you can use a Windows application in general before we start. The second target audience I have are people who've used Word before, but perhaps quite an old version, something like Word 2000 or Word 2003. These users won't have used the ribbon interface before, so I'm going to explain a little bit about the use of the ribbon interface early on, and then hopefully with your earlier knowledge of the use of Word you'll be able to pick up everything else pretty quickly. The third group of users really are people who have used one of the newer versions of Word, 2007 or 2010. Now for those users, they'll be familiar with the ribbon interface, but I do need to warn them that the ribbon interface has changed a little in 2013, partly because it's now intended to support touch use as well as keyboard and mouse use. So there's probably quite a bit there for you to consider, and I'll be going over how to use the ribbon with touch as well as using the conventional user interface devices. I'll also, for those more experienced users of recent versions of Word, be talking about some of the new functionality. We'll look at the main points in the new functionality a little bit later on in this section, and some details of some of the new features later on in the course. I should also point out that for people who are familiar with a modern version of Word, or even with one of the older versions of Word, there may well be areas of Word that you haven't used before. I'm going to make sure that I got a pretty broad coverage of Word in this course. Another important point to note is that until now, almost exclusively Word has been used by people with keyboard and mouse. Increasingly now people are accessing Office components, particularly Word, Excel, some of the other components, using touch devices. And in fact I'm recording this course on what looks like a conventional PC, but it's actually a touchscreen PC. And I'm going to be using touchscreen at various points during this course, and for those of you that want to be able to use a touch interface, I hope to cover all of the essential aspects of using touch. The device I'm using actually also supports hand gestures in front of the screen, and you may well be using a device that will work with hand gestures. Unfortunately, when it comes to recording a course like this, hand gestures don't really help very much because you can't really see what I'm doing. So I'm only really going to use touch as the additional interface method alongside mouse and keyboard. Now to be fair, most of the time I'll be using mouse and keyboard because for the vast majority of people that is still the way that they use Word. But I am going to try to make sure that everything that needs to be covered that's different using touch I cover. So let's suppose that you want to try Office 2013. What are the system requirements for Office 2013? Well, if you look at the Microsoft.com website and search on system requirements for Office 2013, there are a couple of places you'll find them. This is within the Office section of the site. And if I scroll down the system requirements here, you'll see a list of the versions of Office that are currently planned to be available, and then further down the Office 2013 requirements. Hardware requirements I'll let you check through yourself, but let's look at the operating system requirements because this is very important. If you're using a regular PC or laptop, you need to have Windows 7 or Windows 8 operating system. You are not supported if you're running Windows XP or Windows Vista. So first of all, if you have one of those older desktop operating systems or laptop operating systems, you're going to need to upgrade to Windows 7 or Windows 8. Just for information, I'm running this course on Windows 8. The other option for running Office 2013, including Word 2013, is one of the later Windows Server products. So Windows Server 2008 R2 or Windows Server 2012. Now at the time of writing this, it was not clear what version of Office 2013, or perhaps I should say how complete a version of Office 2013, including Word 2013, would be available on the Microsoft Surface tablet. By the time you watch this, it may be clear just how much of Office 2013 and Word 2013 you're going to be able to get on a Microsoft Surface tablet. I will assume, as I said earlier on though, that tablet users will be able to do virtually everything that I show you on this course, and I'll include suitable instructions or help as we go along. So some people following this course will maybe have already bought a PC with Office 2013 installed. Some of you may have an older version, some of you may have no version of Office or Word. If you are going to install Office, including Word, then you do need to make sure that the hardware you're trying to install it on is up to the job. We've got the hardware specification there, and of course I've already mentioned the fact that you need to be on Windows 7 or Windows 8 if you're running this on a desktop or laptop PC. Once you've established that the device you've got is up to the job, then you need to actually do the installation, which may in effect of course be an upgrade from an earlier version of Office. I'm not going to go through the installation process here because it's adequately covered on the Microsoft.com website, but I'll give you a quick reference to that as it stands at the time that I'm recording this. At the time of recording this, Office 2013 has not yet officially been released, so there isn't an official set of installation instructions. But to install one of the available versions of Office 2013, there are basically two places that you can look. There was a customer preview version, and although that customer preview version is now superseded, the installation instructions for that, which are on technet.com, and you can find them by searching for that, then if you go down the page you'll find that the instructions are pretty good, follows it through, and there are a number of links within those instructions to other areas to help you with the installation. So that is one option, just to go to these instructions on technet.com. And what is possibly an even more useful location for you is this one, which is also part of TechNet, but this enables you to download a 60-day trial version of Office Professional Plus 2013, which includes Word and many of the other components of Office 2013. And not only does this give you access to a version that you can download, but it will also link you through to instructions to install that version. So if you haven't already got Office 2013 installed, that's a great place to go at the time I'm recording this, and you'll get 60 days use, which hopefully will be more than enough time to work through the whole of this course as well, using a free version of Word 2013. Now, as with the previous link, there really is no point in me trying to go through the instructions here of how to install Office 2013. The information on Microsoft sites, including the two lots on TechNet, are going to be much better sources of information about doing installations. And of course, there are links from there to various forums where people discuss problems they may have had when they're doing the installations as well, which can also be useful if you run into trouble. So from this point onwards, I'm going to assume that you have a copy of Word 2013 installed, and another thing that I'm going to assume is that you have access to the set of files that are part of this course. Now, the actual names, sizes, dates and so on may differ from these, but there will be a set of files in one folder with names like SSI-Word 2013-example and then a sequence of numbers. I've also put a shortcut to the folder that contains all of these files on my desktop to make it easy for me to always find this folder and access the relevant example file. So with Word 2013 installed and ready to run and access to those example files, we're good to go really.